Hi, welcome to Closer to Happy. Today's episode is going to be slightly different. It's less about the logistics of moving and more about the mindset.
What we realize is if we don't actually consciously think about what our vision is for where we're going and the kind of life we want to create in Spain, we could easily just recreate the life we have here, in which case, why bother? So that's what we're going to get into today.
So I think we can all agree that setting a vision for your life is really important in all aspects. It's especially important right now when you're planning a move, or, it doesn't need to be a move abroad, it can be a move anywhere. And I think it's important to ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? What are my priorities?
We were at dinner last night and we just started having this conversation over a bite. And it's not a bad idea just to do that with your partner or with yourself and really figure out what's important to you. So friends is a category that's really important. We want to make sure that we have a social life over there that's rich, and we want to be able to find the kind of people that are going to make us be the best versions of ourselves that we can be.
How you want to spend your days, right? Like, what do you want your days to look like?
Yeah, when we first went to Portugal, we kind of came up with a system for us that worked, which was we'd wake up in the morning and we would learn stuff. We would really dig into, at the time AI was just coming out and we were really interested in that. So we just did that for fun. It ended up having an impact on our business later. Because at that point we didn't even have a business, but we were just doing something we liked. We were growing, we were going to museums, we were learning about Portugal. And then in the afternoons, we would go out and really be part of the country we're in. And it was really cool.
Yeah, it really was. And that actually, we didn't necessarily set an intention so much, it all just worked out. But because we've had that experience, we know how important it is to kind of think about what you want your day-to-day to look like.
But also, that was kind of really like a vacation, and this is a move. Now, the difference between a vacation and a relocation in the way that we're doing it is that we're really planning on being there for a couple of years. At least. So it's a really serious decision to do this, and we're kind of burning the boats here and just making a leap over there, and that's a really crazy thing to do sometimes. And a lot of our friends have told us they thought it was crazy. But we also know that when we jump in and are over our heads and learn how to swim, we become very present and really happy. And we really do kind of rely on our instincts, and we sort of become excited about life again by being in an environment like that. But we don't want this to just be an extended vacation, because then you just eat and drink too much.
I think the other thing too is to really ask yourself what part of your life, what habits and your current day-to-day do you want to bring with you, that you want to carry along? Because there are some things that we love about, for example, our morning routines, some of our exercise routines, healthy eating, all of that. We definitely want to continue that and actually increase that when we arrive in Spain.
We want to really pose questions for you to ask yourselves about this, but as I said, we were talking about this over dinner last night, and one of the things I want to, get really healthy in certain ways. I want to be sailing more. I want to be able to dive into my music more, which also brings up some apprehensions, because I have to ship equipment or bring equipment over with me, and then I have to start asking myself, well, do you really want to do that, and is there really going to be a thing there for me? But a thing meaning people to play with. But I think that when you kind of get tuned into yourself and plan that, yes, I want to become a better musician, I want to become a better sailor, I want to become healthier, I want to become more fit, and you know that that's your goal, and then you kind of set that up, you put it in motion, and then you just keep saying yes when you're over there, and you actually do it, and you create new habits.
I think that sort of leads us into what are some categories to focus on. And for us, physical well-being is really important. So we want to hike while we're there.
There's great hiking in Marbella.
Yeah, we'll probably connect with other people who are interested in hiking as well. Mental and emotional growth. Being in a new place automatically puts you in a place where you are learning. if you're learning a new language, learning your way around, learning where to go eat,
Right.
or how to get groceries.
And when to eat, which is about 4 hours later than we're used to.
Yeah. How do you want to meet people? What kind of relationships do you want to build there? How are you going to connect? You know, I think finding groups like a hiking group, if you're interested in hiking, or finding people.
Yoga classes.
Right.
Bicycling groups.
Yeah, just finding people that have similar interests is going to make it a lot easier to connect with locals and other expats.
And we also know that Marbella happens to be pretty friendly towards expats. I mean, more than some places. So we are excited about that. And we have serendipitously, I think, as we mentioned in another episode, connected with some old friends of Cheryl's that have been living there for 25 years. I mean, what a gift that is. We have new friends there already, and we haven't even gotten there yet. So that's gonna, I think, expedite everything we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, cultural immersion. Like, what do you want to learn about this new place that you're going?
You also have to think about what you want your work-life balance to be. I mean, the good news is Europe in general has a pretty healthy idea of what work-life balance should be, which is a lot of life and some work. I mean, from an American standpoint, it feels like everyone's kind of not working very hard over there, but that's not true. I feel they just have an actual balance that works. They get a lot done. The European stock market is doing really well right now. Europe is stepping up in a lot of ways and feeling more like a union, and it's really kind of exciting over there right now. The energy is great. That's one of the things we want to experience. What you want to decide is how much time do you want to spend towards, you know, building up a business if you want to do that, or just kicking back and having fun. Yeah. Now we're on an NLV visa, which means we're not allowed to actually work. So we are not going to be doing that. But you might want to think about that.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Cliff, like, what are your priorities? What does your day-to-day look like when you are in Spain, when we land in Marbella?
Cappuccino first, except they have a different name for it, and they also have a specific kind of cappuccinos, kind of coffee drinks that people have. And one thing I found out from our tutor, that they have a drink, and I wish I could remember the name of it because I obviously am not a very good student. It's a drink that everyone has there that has Baileys in it. It's coffee with Baileys. And I said, oh, well, that's an interesting, you know, after dinner drink. And they said, no, that's a morning drink. So I don't know, guys, that might have something to do with the productivity level that we were talking about a minute ago. But anyway, my day would start off stretching, doing some yoga, meditating, because, you know, when you're thrown into a situation like that, I personally need to really get quiet and listen to my insides, because otherwise I could easily get pulled into a thousand different ways, and that's just me. But so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to grab my beloved coffee from wherever, or make it myself if I decide to go that route, and then probably maybe go for a hike or something.
Sounds good.
And then maybe dig into learning something, not news, but learning something. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, so are we just talking about morning? Okay, just for morning?
Oh, did you want to go further than morning?
Morning's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so for morning, I would like to basically do the same thing, minus the coffee, because coffee.
Yeah, she hates coffee. Can you believe that?
I hate it. I'll just do the Baileys. I'll do the Baileys part. That sounds like fun.
Oh, that's why I married you. I forgot.
Exactly. I think I would, you know, I just want to wake up and do what I do. I think our morning routine I'd like to recreate, which is getting up, stretching, doing some yoga, doing my gratitude journal. Obviously have a lot to be grateful for, and meditating. And then the place we're staying happens to have an awesome state-of-the-art gym. So I want to go work out, and I also want to go on hikes and explore the area. I think then go out and get things for dinner, go to the markets and get things for dinner, plan out my meals for the day. That sounds like an absolutely perfect morning. Oh, I left out learning, because I like to learn too.
So it sounds like we actually are recreating what we do here. So we're sort of consciously wanting to bring what we do here that works for us, and we bring it there. Yeah. Then after morning, when it gets into the rest of the day, I think
that's called afternoon.
After morning, I'd like to get out and go see different places, because we're going to be living in a completely interesting environment that has the Rock of Gibraltar is a couple hours south of us, I believe. The Grenada's a couple hours in. There is a place supposedly down the coast from where we're going to be living that has really amazing tropical weather and surfing and everything. And we want to learn about this and figure out what is it there that makes that place so special. So I want to get out and do that. Now we have these new friends, old friends of Cheryl's, new friends of mine that we're going to be meeting their friends and networking, and I'm sure a lot of what we end up wanting to do later is going to come from that. We're going to be going out and actually doing social things with them, which is really when you start realizing and figuring out what it's like to live in Spain.
Right.
And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And I know that there are a lot of new expats actually from California,
Right.
not just the States, but specifically from California. So I think we're going to have people to socialize with outside of my friend, or maybe with my friend,
Yeah.
Other Californians. So looking forward to that as well.
But we really want to make sure that we don't just fall into that as the only thing, because
Right.
we really want to throw ourselves into Spanish experiences, not just, Americans bonding together in Spain experiences, even though that's great too, but we need to balance that out.
And I think culturally, we want to become fluent in Spanish.
Yep.
I think it's we're both interested in doing it. It's the right thing to do, and it's a really fun thing to do. So that's going to be a real focus. I think studying every day is going to be part of our day-to-day. Continue watching Money Heist.
Oh, that
We're
show
only
is so
on
good.
season 1.
I really hope you guys check that out, because we're finding it super compelling.
We're only listening to music in Spanish,
Yeah.
and we are trying to primarily watch things in Spanish as well. It's definitely helping.
But what I would love to do is to find some people, like-minded people that, just want to play great music, because I get so happy when I do that. And I happen to know how to do that. So I am going to be looking for those people. I think I'm also going to connect with some studios there, because recording studios, I need them now and then for the voice work I do, and also for playing music in sometimes. So I think I'm going to start networking in the studio realm in Marbella and see what I could find from that. That's exciting.
So. And I think for me too, I've spent a lot of the last 20 years, more than that actually, volunteering.
Right.
And either serving on boards or working on the programmatic side or fundraising side. And so I'd like to look for opportunities to continue that. It's kind of fallen off for me in the last few years, and that's something that gives me a ton of joy. And it's another way to kind of not just be coming to Marbella and being those Americans, but coming and hopefully adding some value by just being there.
Yeah, I think any time you can bring value to a country that you're visiting, they'll appreciate it, and it's really good for all concerned in whatever way you can do that.
What other areas?
Sailing. I love sailing. We're going to be on the Mediterranean. Duh, I want to get back to sailing. I windsurfed for about 13 years and I stopped doing it because we moved to Arizona. The windsurfing sucks in Arizona. And so I want to get back to sailing. I've sailed since I was 11 years old, so I'm excited to do that.
And cooking, learning new ways of cooking
Right.
with new ingredients for me is a really big deal. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So
Right.
I just think it's so exciting. I cannot wait to get there. We are 1 week down and counting. So I want to throw down a challenge. There are some practical steps you can take right now. So go get some paper and join us on this little exercise.
So the first thing that I think is really important for any visioning is to start off writing it down. Now, I've had extremely incredible experiences in my life by writing down what I was visioning. And I actually wrote a description of Cheryl 3 weeks before I met her. I wrote a description of our house on my birthday, which I do this every birthday anyway, which is like what I want my next year to be like. And I wrote a description of our house when we could not afford it, had no idea how we would end up here. We were living in Arizona. I wrote a description of this house that when we found this house and we went into the model initially and walked in, it was like the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and my phone rang, and it was a job that gave me the down payment for the house. I swear to God. And that was within a year of writing it down. Write down what you want. There's something about the process of writing it down that really works. So whatever it is, and by the way, you're not like, don't worry like, oh, if I write the wrong thing. don't worry about that. Just get your vision out, whatever your vision is as of right now. It can evolve, but actually putting it to paper makes the difference. So try that.
Yeah, absolutely. And start implementing some of it now. If there are some things that you want to change in your life, connections you want to make, go ahead and start like putting those feelers out.
Right.
In the same way that, you know, for us, for me anyway, I'm hanging out eternally on the Facebook, all the expat Facebook groups.
Right.
And so I'm getting so much good information from people and connecting with lots of people, and already feel like there's, you know, I have tribes in different part of Spain, and that's, you know, I've been doing that for about a year. So don't be afraid to kind of start putting feelers out in terms of building connections, building relationships. You'll get so much great information.
And prioritize what matters to you. If it's your health, make sure you prioritize that every day and make that a thing that you check that box. If you want to go out and experience Spanish food, figure out where the best Spanish food is and go out and experience it.
Yeah.
So just get clear on what you want to do and when and how much you want to do that. You know, we're getting very clear on the fact that we want to stay put for a little while, but we absolutely want to spend weekends in Paris, weekends in Italy. Not every weekend, but one weekend a month, let's say.
Yeah, like take 10 minutes today and sit down and just write down 3 to 5 key areas that you just want to focus on for whatever life shift you're in right now.
You know, most times of our lives just blend together, one thing to the next. It's very rare that you get to have a line of delineation between what was and what's going to be. And this is a moment that if you're moving, if you're joining us in this kind of journey, this is a moment to completely change anything you want to change and have an acceleration in the jump of it. Whereas when you just stay in your normal life, things can kind of plod along at a certain pace. This is a moment to jump. So anyway, write it down and actually make it happen.
I'd love to hear what kind of one thing you would do differently in your new life would be.
Wherever you go, there you are. So make who you are different. So when you wake up in Spain, you do something that is really exciting to you and you make it an experience that you're going to remember forever, you know? And if you like this video, if this helped you and you're interested in following us, please do like it and then come back, because we're going to really be jumping into this when we're over there. It's going to be very exciting to be sharing our journey from the ground, which is in like a week. One week.
1 week.
So yeah, yikes. See you there. Ciao.
Ciao.